Welcome back. A new regulation on the principles and procedures of official selection recently released by the Communist Party of China's Central Committee has generated heated online debate. Now, according to the new regulations, people who fall into these categories cannot be promoted. 1. Those who don't have a good reputation among the public. 2. Those who have been graded as incompetent in annual assessments and in the latest 3 years. And 3. Those engaged in positions of jockeying or vote canvassing. But one particular aspect has raised the most attention. Well, that's the naked official. Cannot be promoted either. Naked officials refer, of course, to officials who stay in mainland China while their wives and children and their assets reside abroad. The new regulation says that officials whose spouses have emigrated to other countries, or those who have no spouse, meaning are divorced, but their children have emigrated to other countries, will now have no chance to be promoted. Now, to hear what's being said online about those naked officials and the new restrictions on them, let's join our researcher, Esther Dung. Thanks a lot, Esther, for joining us. First off, please give us some background information on this phrase, naked official. How did it come about?
Well, the phrase naked official or 裸官 in Chinese, as you said, was coined by Zhou Peng'an, a civil servant and outspoken blogger in Anhui province, in one of his blogs in 2008. Zhou used this phrase to describe officials who have moved their family abroad, often taking their assets with them. This article has since been reposted by various Chinese websites and quoted by Chinese media outlets.
Okay, we often hear the phrase naked officials in Chinese reports, of course, but how many naked officials are there in China?
Well, online there have been lots of people asking the same question, but I have to say that the number of naked officials in China has remained somewhat of a mystery. Actually, when asked by reporters, Ma Wen, head of China's Ministry of Supervision, said they have no exact number of naked officials in China. That has made plenty of posters suspicious and angry. For example, this poster, I don't want to, says, what? If the ministry doesn't even know this, then what's it for? And also, Wei Feng says, give me 10 people to help work on this, and I can give you the number in a year. And currently, the most quoted number is 1.18 million. And that comes from Lin Zhe, a deputy of China's National People's Congress, who said in 2012, based just on media records from 1995 to 2005, a total of 1.18 million officials have moved their spouses and children abroad.
Now let's move on to the regulation, or to be more precise, restrictions on naked officials. What are net users saying about that?
Well, based on the comments I've seen, lots of posters are quite happy to hear that and express their support. This comment from Yan Lilei is quite typical, and actually it has gotten support from nearly 14,000 posters. It reads, to select the proper officials is the most important job of a government. I support this new regulation. But there are still a certain number of posters who are slow to give their applause. First, have a listen to this poster who asks, but how about those whose spouses are in China, but their children have already emigrated abroad? And also, La Si writes on ZJJZX.cn. We have to remember that some officials studied abroad and now come back to work in China. They are usually well educated, but their families are living or working abroad. Now, under the new regulation, they have no chance to be promoted. It's not fair.
And finally, how to regulate these naked officials? Do net users have any suggestions, maybe?
Yes, a lot actually. First, I've seen so many posters who call for stricter regulations and punishment for naked officials, like 兔子咬了哈士奇, who comments, for me, naked officials should be fired immediately rather than just not be promoted. And then this net user on QQ.com has this request. I strongly demand they review the names of these corrupt officials who have escaped to other countries with huge amounts of our taxpayers' money. Finally, I'd like to finish up with this comment on Hexun.com. We should let our officials make their family members' information public. That will be effective in cracking down on potential naked officials.
All right. Thanks a lot, Esther. That was China Take researcher Esther Deng. Still to come, some of the top trending phrases on China's most popular search engines. Stay with us.